Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome along to the International Touring Cup of 2018 here at GPVWC. It is round 2 of 8 on this marvellous-looking calendar, and after the incredibly entertaining first round that we had with 3 different race winners and 6 different men making their way onto the podium, we head to Le France and to a very famous circuit indeed. We're at Le Mans. But of course, in these plucky little touring cars, we're not going to be taking it round the full circuit. No, we're going to be heading to the Bugatti circuit, which has been an ever-present on the calendar since the switch over to Rfactor 2 in 2016. It's a fantastic circuit, and we'll be taking you through it in just a little bit. My name is James Kirk, and I'm all here on my lonesome on commentary tonight. I've got, of course, the brilliant Argo Tita, on cameras. Showing you all the beautiful, lovely pictures. And yes, if I take little breaks, then it's because I don't want to waste my voice too much. Got a busy weekend ahead. Luckily, got the Friday in between, mind. But yes, if you don't like the sound of my voice, now's probably the time to mute or turn off the broadcast. And so, Le Mans Bugatti. It's a circuit which a lot of the drivers like. It's got a number of mid-speed corners. It's got a load of heavy braking zones. Overtaking is possible at a lot of corners around this track. And for those track limits specialists amongst you, you'll love this one as well, since there are a lot of places which you can go over and cut, which will definitely be on the minds of the drivers. A lot of good behavior, actually, at Poznan when it came to track cuts. No back of the grid penalties to report from qualifying. So we just hope that the drivers can continue to go on their merry way. As I think, Argo, we should probably turn our attentions to Tristan Potter's down in P22, because he is about to start a lap of this Super Pole session, by the way. 15 minutes, you only get one attempt at a lap. Tristan Pottens in Rowan GP, the Vauxhall Astra, is going to be taking us through this one. And it's a very familiar start to this course through the legendary Dunlop curve. Long right-hander before you hit this braking zone. A little bit of a snap on the brakes, though, for Tristan Potters, completely missing both apexes of the Dunlop chicane. So, unfortunately for the Dutchman, not the best start to the Super Pole lap. Again, only the one opportunity to make it count. We're then turning off the main circuit into La Chapelle. It's a long right-hander. Some people liking to hang in around the outside to try and get on the inside of this corner, La Musée. Now, we've seen over the last couple of years a lot of overtaking opportunities into here. In fact, it was here 2 years ago, where arguably there was a massive change in the championship order as Niki Jakovic made contact with Rudy van Buren. It's then into Garage Vert. It's a much smaller version of La Chapelle, so you want to be braking hard on the inside into that corner as opposed to setting up a move into La Musée. It's then the second longest straight down into the S chicane of Chemin au Boeuf. No real overtaking opportunity through here. A lot of line astern, I'd imagine. And then it's a very wavy, washy end to the circuit. It's into S de Garage Bleu. It's a right-hander followed up by a tighter, ever-winding-in left-hander. And then almost the anti-clockwise, or rather the clockwise version of Garage Vert. It's a double apex, as unfortunately for Tristan Potter's running outside of the track. That might very well be a back of the grid penalty if he chooses to stick with this lap, which is a 1:45.6. We're going to be seeing 1:42s if you want to try and get yourself inside the top 10. And currently the man on P1 is Reinu Muru. He hasn't even hit that, a 1:53.1 there. He's followed up by Pedro Delgado, 200s behind him, and Ben Willis in the Drake, a further 1.4 seconds behind. Honestly, Super Pole, you have to be on it. You have to warm your tyres. And this round in particular is pretty special. It's the first round of the season where we have weight ballast as a major contributing factor. And so, if you're relatively in the know about the International Touring Cup, you will know that weight ballast has always been a thing in this series. Generally, it's top 5 in the championship. They get some weight. Happens in qualifying. Happens through all the races as well, depending on finishing order, whatnot, blah, blah, blah. This year, it's been changed up. With a new mod, we have a new weight system, and it's very similar to the British Touring Car Championship system at that as well. So the top 10 in the championship going into this round each gets a number of kilograms attached to their car. Number 1 in the championship, which on this particular occasion is Kevin Siggy Rebenak, he goes into this round with 75 kilograms for both qualifying and the race. That weight ballast goes all the way down to 10th position, currently occupied by Adam Pinches, the Hungarian. He comes in with 9 kilograms of weight ballast. It's not a set like 9999 or 987 or whatever. It does change a little bit as you go down the order. But the basic gist is 75 kilograms to 9 kilograms. The top 10 all have that. What we're also seeing is a very different qualifying session to the one that we saw at Poznan. There were people on track pretty much at all times, and it was a constant flow. But of course, one of the major things about Rfactor 2 is that you have this real road. You have the road rubbering in. You have track conditions ever changing. And it seems to me like a lot of these guys are very much waiting for those final few minutes to go out and set the lap. It's very smart, but at the same time, you're not guaranteed a fresh track. And so the next one really on a lap is going to be the IDOS Motorsport car of Jack Mayer, who actually scored his first points of the season last time out. He scored a 13th in race 1 at Poznan. I believe that's his first ever point score in the ITC as well, because he did have a stint back in the Rfactor 1 era with Valters Automotive, and he wasn't very good. But actually, to be fair, the Englishman's had a bit of a breakthrough campaign in Super Cup with ST Racing, certainly a shining light in their year so far. And currently the lone point scorer of IDOS, who are down there in 11th position, which is important. Another new factor about the international, oh my goodness me, as he really flies into Garage Vert there. Another important factor to note about the International Touring Cup this year is that it was so popular in terms of sign-ups that the administration decided, hey, why don't we just make 2 divisions? So, racing at the same time as Division 1 is Division 2, also known as the International Touring Challenge. We did have a broadcast 2 weeks ago, I should say. Unfortunately, not so much this year. You can probably tell by the fact that I'm on my own. We're a bit understaffed on this Thursday. So we do apologize for no broadcast there, but it is happening at the same time as these guys. And, well, what comes with 2 divisions? Well, a relegation and promotion battle. The bottom 4 teams in Division 1, as Mayer goes 3rd there, will be relegated from Division 1. And IDOS Motorsport currently P11 on those 3 points. Very much on the bubble. They actually finished 11th last year as well, as Philip Morby slots into P3. Still the big boys to come through. And I think the next of those big boys will probably be Niels Brugman, actually. The Enterprise Pulsars driver. Picking up in race 3 last time out. He started near the back of the grid in Poznan, so he had to work his way up in race 1, worked his way up a little bit more in race 2, and then eventually came out. It was an Enterprise 1-3, if I recall correctly, in race 1. And so Brugman will be looking to try and fly the flag of the stars a little bit higher than last time out. He does have a bit of weight ballast as well, if I recall correctly. Yes, so he's P8 in the championship. So nowhere near as much as a lot of the other drivers. He's only got 21 kilograms of weight ballast on his car. It'll be interesting to see how he matches up with the rest of the guys, because one of the prevailing thoughts coming out of Poznan is this field is very, very close. If you are out of position, there is no guarantee that you're going to be able to work your way back up the order successfully. You have to be really on it in order to secure yourself some points. And Niels Brugman here looking to be the first man to pop himself into the 142s. In fact, it's a green first sector. It's a purple middle sector. But goodness me, was that not a great last sector by any stretch of the imagination? Only P3 for Brugman there, a 143.2. The top 3 all separated by just over a 10th, but now look at everyone piling out the garage. It's go time. And we're going to start to see the times flying in now. Who's the next man up the road? It's going to be Matthew Klipp here, just coming around the final corner. The other of the IDOS cars. Non-scored last time in Poznan. He'll be looking to get himself up inside the top 5, hopefully beating out his teammate. In fact, it's provisional pole. Again, only by a 100th of a second. Who's next is going to be Bell and Keithley next along the road. Let's have a little look. Is it going to be Bell or Keithley first? I think... yeah, it's going to be Keithley first. Keithley, who picked up a podium himself, he will have been disappointed with round 1. Non-scored in that, in the final race, actually, after being taken out by Erhan Yoyovski. Surely this is going to be pole for... no way! Jack Keithley, P8. Mike Bell, only P5. There are people losing a lot of time in this last sector, and that must be a worry for a lot of them. Eric Strana now is going to be the next driver to post a time. The Red Bull Street Fighter was leading race 3 for 11 laps out of 12, and then he lost 5 positions in the space of 5 corners, only ended up coming home P5. Let me just check where Keithley even was in the standings. He was P6. He was P6 in the standings, so he's not even top 5 in terms of weight ballast, of which, by the way, from 1st to 5th, it's Siggy, Richards, Baldy, Shepard, and Butcher. Strana isn't even in the top 10, is he? Because he missed race 1. Yeah, so Eric Strana's actually weightless, which could prove to be a shining grace on the Swedish's resume here. Had a bit of a checkered start to his campaign, but the 2014 and 2015 champion might very well come out with pole position. Yes, indeed, by 1 full second. Eric Strana goes to the top of the timesheets. That is what the weight ballast can do. And let's see, Arnie Schoenvliet as well, I think, going to be putting in a decent time here. Dutchman crosses the line now. Easy P2, 4/10 off Eric Strana. So it's a Strana Schoenvliet front row. Who's going to be next is going to be one of Lindbergh and Pinch's. I think he's already gone in there. Lindbergh P7. What about Adam Pinch's? He's going to be next across the line. They've got Shepard behind him then, and Fidek in there as well. There are some people who've not set a lap. Ruder decided to not set a lap. And let's see, where does Pinch's go? Pinch's goes P3. He's the last of the guys with weight ballast, so that's going to be a good thing for him. Fidek and Shepard are up next. Let's see Shepard. Shepard only P5 behind Matt Klipp. Goodness me, and where was he? He was 4th in the standings? Yeah. The weight having a serious effect on these drivers. In comes Fidek now. Fidek, the first of the men actually outside the weight ballast. And Fidek goes second. 2.5 off Strana. That's looking pretty good for him. Who just went in there? I couldn't quite see. I think Lewis McGlade is going to be up next as well. Who was it who went in up the top there? No one important, I don't think. No one important. Right, Lewis McGlade across the line goes P5. And next up will be one of Campfield or Olsen. So let's have a little look at where they are on track. Olsen just going through, or the Campfield, I should say, just going through the chicane. But important news for Campfield is that he picked up a 10-place grid penalty from Poznan, actually. I think it was picked up in race 3. So wherever he qualifies, you can dock another 10 places off that one. And the final corner, the Englishman will come now. And you will have to apologise because my Rfactor 2 seems to have frozen. It's P10 for Campfield. What about Olsen just coming around the final corner now? The Swede had a really good event overall, working his way up the order. Only P17! Wow! That's crazy. Siggy and Richards next. So these are the guys with the majority of the weight ballast. Is going to be Siggy first, our championship leader. Remember, 75 kilograms of weight ballast on this car. The rear-wheel drive swerves its way around the final corner. And Siggy goes 5th. That's a great effort. That's a brilliant effort. And what about Richards behind? Richards goes 5th. Big laps from 2 of the championship protagonists there. Next across the line will be Patel. Patel goes P4. Brilliant effort from him. I see Gergo Baldi only gone P9. And that just leaves Chris Butcher then as our final man out on track. He's going to have to put in a hell of an effort, though, to outdo Strana. In fact, he's already so far off the ACR driver. So far off. Here he comes round. Yes, you can see how much he's understeering there. Chris Butcher, another one of those guys in the top 5. And I think it's pretty easy to call it at this early stage. Yeah, Chris Butcher crosses the line now and only goes P22. Blimey. And so, the 2014 15 champion, he didn't take part in qualifying in Poznan. And now I bet a lot of people are kind of wishing that he didn't in this one. He takes pole position. Oh, by only 3 thousandths of a second, I noticed, off Erhan Yayovsky. Now, Yayovsky, that really wouldn't matter because he's picked up a 20 for this event after having a really bad Poznan. Yeah, 30 places, so he's going to be starting at the back of the grid anyway. So Strana is going to be ahead of Fiduk, ahead of Schoenvliet and Patel. Very interesting front 4 there. Pinch is doing well. Richards and Siggy in particular, considering how much weight ballast they had, they did amazing. They really did do themselves justice. And just looking at my stats now to try and figure out. So Strana, this is going to be his 96th, 7th, and 8th race. Wins, 21 podiums. Would you believe he's only had 2 pole positions in his entire ITC career? Well, this is number 3. So who's really disappointed? Well, both ACR cars, goodness me. Butcher only P22. Jack Keithley only P21 ahead of him. That is shocking. That is really shocking for an ACR team who, after round 1, are in that championship battle. And Esports, things are looking better and better because they are first in the team's championship by 11 points. Enterprise and ACR Zaxby, they're both 11 points behind Edge Esports. Enterprise, it's okay. Baldi starting P10. I guess that's going to be P9 actually after Yayovsky's penalty. And Brugman's going to be gaining 2 positions because he's going to be ahead of Campfield, who's got a 10 place, ahead of Yayovsky, who's got a 30 place. So he'd be starting P14, but even still, that's not great. Both Enterprises being outqualified by both Edges, both ACRs being outqualified by both Edges. And really, for Epic Racing, who's a further 6 points behind those guys, they're probably looking at this thinking, hey, that's not too bad. We've got our man on the front row in the end with Fiduk. Shepard's going to be starting P11, I want to say. Drake's not looking too bad as well. They've got Richards up in there. Weight penalty is brutal, says Ronan Umuru in our in-game chat, and I could not agree more. Could not agree more. It really just goes to show how much of an effect it can have. But at the same time, the Super Pole is Super Pole. You need to be on it, and Siggy and Richards proved that whether you have the most weight penalty or not. Mind you, we should probably talk about the cars in question as well, because each of these cars has their own different characteristics. We're expecting the Honda to be pretty damn good here, in all honesty. We're expecting the MG to be quite good as well, so that might be why the Drake is decent around this circuit. So, the Honda, I realise I'm developing a cold now as I speak as well. Worst possible timing. So, Honda, it's your best sort of like middle of the road car. It's kind of good at everything. The MG is good at your long corners. The Vauxhall is good at your short corners. It's also arguably the fastest car overall, but burns through the tires. The Subaru, great off the line, great tire wear, lower top line speed, which might bite it here actually, to be fair. Long game. So that does surprise me. It doesn't surprise me that we have a Honda front row. Not by any stretch. In fact, it's a Honda top 3 there with Schoenvliet and then Patel in P4 with the rear-wheel drive. I think that's a great effort by Patel, actually. I think he's got a bit of weight ballast. Yeah, he's P7. So he's actually going to be the first of the guys in the order with weight ballast as well. Don't count him out of a chance of winning this race, especially if he has a good start, though I would put my counters more on Strana Fight or Schonvliet, to be very honest with you. Thankfully, it seems that the race director has been a little bit merciful and has only given us 5 minutes of warm-up. Usually it's like 10 minutes, and I don't know. I don't think I'd be able to talk to you for 10 minutes straight. Not without action on track anyway. Oh, it feels like the good old days of Simon Smith. Only Simon Smith is a lot more entertaining than me. Nah, we need to get Smithy back on commentary at some point. Where has he gone? Oh. If you fancy keeping up with all of my tweets, feel free to give me a cheeky follow on Twitter at Ireleak, IRELIQUE. Passed over 500 followers 2 days ago? Yes, 2 days ago, which I was very excited about. And all the support that you guys have been giving me, it's been hugely appreciated. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining me. And let's hope that we've got 3 races ahead of us. I'd be amazed if we got another 3 different winners and another 3 different podium sitters. I think 3 different winners is possible. I think that's the most likely thing today, but surely someone from 2 weeks ago is going to finish on the podium again. I'm looking at Siggy, Richards, Shepherd today. Surely. Unfortunately, I don't have YouTube chat open. So discuss away. Who do you think is going to be winning this race? Do we think it's going to be one of the front 3 Hondas? Do we think Strana's finally going to get a win? Is Fidek or Schonvliet going to surprise us? Do you think Patel can spring a surprise with the weight ballast and in the Subaru? Currently, as things stand, should I make a constructors table? It would be kind of unfair, wouldn't it? Because the Subarus are vastly outnumbered. Let's just see anyway. So it's 1 win for MG, 1 win for Subaru, and 1 win for the Vauxhall. So we are still awaiting a Mercedes, which is good on the brakes, by the way, so it could be good at overtaking on the circuit. And a win for the Honda, which surely is going to come sooner rather than later. The Honda, across the entire Rfactor 2 era, has been a really solid car to be in. Good news for next year as well is that we're pretty much guaranteed additions to the Ross Focus should hopefully be coming along sooner rather than later. And I think there's a Volkswagen in there as well, the Passat, I can't remember which one exactly. The BMW, of course. I think that's getting an upgrade as well. So finally the Subaru will have some company in the Approval Tri-Field. Right, so time is up in warm-up. And we go into yet another unknown situation. Who's going to come out on top? I genuinely don't know. It is anybody's guess. If you watched last broadcast, you'll know exactly why I can't predict anything. Because quite frankly, you could be hit off the road and get your chance at a top 5. You could perform an amazing overtake, surprising everyone. You could end up in the perfect position for race 3 and get away with a win. Nobody was expecting Gergo Baldi to win race 3 yesterday. Nobody. And yet there he was at the end, ready to pound. So our race director, the ever-present, just informing us that we're going to be moving to the race in a moment, just going through the driver's briefing. We have formation laps here, of course, so warming the tyres important. Standing start. For each of these 3 races, we're going to be running 11 laps apiece. And a reminder that the top 10 in race 1 will then inherit the weight ballast of those adjacent positions for race 2. And you always want to stick around for race 3, where we have that top 10 to 15 randomly generated number reverse grid race. That always throws up madness. Everyone goes ham in race 3. So, good luck. Have fun. And the Rfactor man says his things as the drivers take to the grid. There are going to be, especially considering that that relegation battle, some managers, I'm sure, eager what they see in terms of the grid order. I will be sure to highlight them, because it could be quite important. We'll also be going through the tyre compounds. We failed to mention, really. I failed to mention. There's nobody with me. We do have 2 different tyre compounds, as we always have had for the Rfactor 2 era of ITC, to be fair. We saw the medium tyres being used in a rare instance last time out in Poznan. We don't think that is going to be the case anywhere else, though. The soft tyres are simply too good to ignore. And I'll be sure to that info to you by the race start. So, on pole position, we have Eric Strana, who looks to me like he's got medium compound tyres, at least from the start. The Red Bull Street Fighter driver is joined by another Honda in the form of David Fiduk's Epic. We then have Arnie Schoenvliet in a triple Honda threat at the front for Adonis Engineering, and on the second row alongside him will be Mohammed Patel. Reminder that he has weight ballast, and once my thingy, so he's got 27 kilograms of weight ballast. Behind him is actually the man on the grid with the least weight ballast, Adam Pinch, 9 kilograms on board for Smile Power. We then go to the 2 heaviest in the field. So we have Matt Richards, P6 for Drake Racing, but with 66 kilograms of weight ballast. Kevin Siggy behind him, our championship leader going into this round with 75 kilograms. We then have Lewis McGlade, P8. Disappointing first round for Aurora, who'll be looking to do a little bit better. Gogo Baldi then is P9. 57 kilograms on board. And rounding out the top 10, Matthew Clip. What an opportunity for him to score more points for IDOS. The poor starter on the whole from last time out, actually, Chris Shepard. He's got weight ballast. He starts P11 for Epic. He has got 48 kilograms on board. We then have Ranu Muru, again, TTS scoring points, but they're in those relegation spots. He'll be looking to score more, as will Pedro Delgado behind him for Racing Team Stroton, also in the bottom 4 of the teams. Niels Brugman, he's got 20 on 14, and then Mike Bell rounds out the top 15, and the last of the point scorers for Smile Power. Jack Mayer starts P16 for IDOS, and then the 2 ACRs, both with weight ballast, I remind you. 48 kilograms for Keithley, 39 for Butcher. They have a long race ahead of them. Olsen then starts P19 for Red Bull Street Fighter. He actually has 15 kilograms on board his car, making him the last of the weight ballast guys. We then have Willis for Drake rounding out the top 20, and rounding out our final field after a 10-place grid drop for YDF1. Tyrone Frith for TTF, Johan Lindberg for YDF1, Daniele Brambilla for CM Tech, Tristan Potters for Rowan GP, David Yunt actually in the other of the CM Techs, replacing Wupke Hoekstra, Philip Morby for Racing Team Stroton, Fabian Ruder for Rowan GP, and rounding out the grid after his 30-place grid drop, Erhan Yovsky for Adonis Engineering. It seems like the tyres have now finally loaded in, and it is soft tyres across the board. So no surprises there. So the drivers lining up now, ready to go. And we look to await the lights. As unfortunately my Rfactor 2 seems to have crashed at the best possible time. The lights coming on now, and we are go at Le Mans Bugatti. And it looks to be a decent start there from Schoenvliet, actually, in P2, who's already jumped David Fiduk. Look at Mohammed Patel there as well. In the background, as again, It looks like my Rfactor 2 on quiet. You watch the action. I'll be back with you as soon as possible. Okay, I think I can call the racing from now on. This is what happens, ladies and gents, when nobody is ready to broadcast. Eric Strana then leading the field from Schoenvliet. Movers and shakers, Siggy has made his way up past Richards. Pinchers had a good start. Baldy had a good start. Clip actually down to P, or remaining in P10, I should say. Brogman with a good start. We are almost at the end of lap 1 though, so let us take you through your leaders. It is Strana who does lead from Schoenvliet, Fiduk, Patel, Siggy, Richards, Pinchers, Baldy, McGlade and Clip rounding out the top 10. Fiduk though, he's eager to get his P2 back and he goes up the inside of the Dunlop curve. But Schoenvliet with the inside line there, braking nicely, braking securely. Mohamed Patel and Kevin Siggy in close pursuit as well. David Fight, the Englishman. Now going to try and look up the inside of La Chapelle. No, it stays in the hands of Schoenvliet for now. Behind his line astern, Patel under a little bit of pressure from his teammate Siggy. What of the ACR duo? Have they made up any positions? Butcher up to 17th, Keithley up to 20th, so they're doing pretty well. Looks like Kyle Benton, unfortunately, had a bit of contact on the first lap, so he's already out of this race. Benton, who missed the first round, not having a great start to his ITC career at all for Aurora Motorsports. Just coming around garage there now. Strana hasn't really gapped the field as well as he would have wanted to. Schoenvliet with a good start, looking to put him under immediate pressure. Behind, let's see, is there any big gaps really? Yeah, Adam Pinch is there in P7's kind of at the back of this train. And then you have a little gap back to Gergo Baldi in 8th. He's joined by McGlade, Brogman and Chris Shepherd there, all in this little midfield battle. And then further back, you really have the relegation scrappers, Delgado and Muru, 13th and 14th. Mike Bell still holding on to that final point. But there goes Adrian Campfield storming up the inside of Estugarage Bleu. The two bang door mirrors against each other. Mike Bell on the inside. Now this is going to allow Chris Butcher in, though, up the inside of Johan Lindberg, who runs him off the track. I'm sorry, Chris, you can't be doing that. And that might be double trouble for Adrian Campfield, who's going to run Mayer up against the wall. But the Mercedes is going to power on through as we head through the Dunlop curve. And surely Mayer is going to be through on his countryman. Indeed he is. Campfield tries to brake late, but no cigar. Very naughty, in my opinion, from Chris Butcher there. Pretty much running Campfield off the track. I would not be surprised if the DC were to take a little look into that one. There goes Mayer around the outside now of Campfield, or rather, yeah, no, Campfield trying to go up the inside of Mayer, I should say. The two still side by side, but this is what I said earlier about hanging it around the outside of La Chapelle, because now the circuit goes inward, and Mayer should have the corner. Behind, actually, I notice there's the other ACR of Keithy trying to make his way past Brambilla. We'll leave this lot to battle, because we've really got to go back up to the front, I feel. Although it's kind of line astern. Nobody's really looking to make some early moves, with perhaps the exception of Patel, who's broken clear of his teammate Siggy and has been allowed to attack David Fiduk a little bit for this last podium position. Siggy actually under a lot of pressure by Matt Richards as well. I'm sure Siggy's one objective will be to try and outscore the Welshman. Pinch is behind, and Baldy behind. Baldy under a little bit of pressure from Lewis McGlade. They've been able to gap Matt Clip there in P10. And it's a battle between one with a lot of weight ballast and one with not a lot of weight ballast. Is up at the front. Patel's on Fiduk. Patel is through on Fidek, and he wiggled his way up the outside of the S. And then when it came to record them on the final couple of corners, he was able to make his way through. But now this is where the Subaru really struggles. Up ahead, Schoenvliet as well, looking ahead at Eric Strana. He's not going to be able to get him into that one, but Fidek's going to try and work his magic around the outside of the Dunlop chicane. Oh, he really mounts that curbing. That seems a little bit illegal to me in trying to overtake him. But what this has done is it's allowed Siggy, Richards, and Pinches all within striking distance, and I'd feel a little bit hard done by if I was Mohamed Patel in that situation, because I feel like Fidek cut the track. It goes Siggy to the inside, diving up the inside of his teammate. Not going to happen into La Musée. Oh, but look at Pinches. Richards, he's been caught up by all of this. And now the Hungarian's going to try and move on the outside of that MG. Remember, the MG should be one of the stronger cars around this circuit. No cigars. Is that Siggy up the inside of Patel? You can tell that these two are allowed to battle, can't you? Patel staying just ahead for now. As still up at the front, Schoenvliet giving Strana all sorts of problems. Still no attempt to the move. As back there is that Pinches on Richard. He's going to try around the outside. No, going to fall in behind. Baldy's still P8, McGlade's still 9th. Clippers actually gapped Niels Brugman a little bit. I'm sure that the Eidos boys are going to be jumping for joy in their pit garage if Clip can come home in P10. Brugman 11th then, Shepard still 12th. And it's as you are for the rest of the point scorers, really. Delgado, Muru, and Bell rounding out the top 15. Although Bell's going to have to be thinking more about defense and offense very soon, because he's got the resurgent Chris Butcher from the near enough the back of the grid coming up to try and take a point. We actually have a second retirement as well. Erhan Yayovsky continues his poor start to the campaign down there in P29. And so it is an Aurora and an Adonis out in these early stages as Mike Bell's going to try and look forward as Schoenvliet as well. He's through, is he? Yep, they went side by side through the Dunlop curve, and here goes David Fidek as well to try and get involved. Round the outside now is going to go Eric Strana. Oh, contact between the two! Schoenvliet goes out a little wide, and now Strana's going to lose potentially 2 positions, so Schoenvliet into the lead of this race. Fidek doesn't press for more, but around the outside of La Musée now goes Mohamed Patel, and he's done well to hold on there. Around the outside of the front-wheel drivers, as Lewis McGlade's off. Lewis McGlade is off the track as well. And I'm going to try and find out what happened to him, because he fell down the order. He was in contact, or he was, I should say, in battle with Gergo Baldi. And of course, Rfactor 2 being Rfactor 2 is going to take a little while for the oh, weird. How weird. Oh, we broke a little late. I mean, Baldi was meandering with his defense. Ugh. That's not one for me to call. That is not one for me to call. And Lewis McGlade now sees himself all the way down to P18. Gergo Baldi comes out relatively unharmed, although he might have some suspension damage. Might have a penalty coming his way. I don't know. It looked to me like he went to the outside and then was slowly creeping in on the inside, and McGlade just committed to the move, went right into the back of Baldi. Again, I don't think it's mine to call on that one. As Butcher's through on Campfield, is he? No. Oh, Campfield doing what Butcher did to him earlier, running him off the road, and this could allow the aforementioned Lewis McGlade into the fight. He is past Chris Butcher, I think, as I do notice a bit of movement up the top there as well. Someone, I think Clips made his way past. Oh, Butcher into the back of McGlade. Maybe it's these brakes that, maybe the Honda brakes are burning up a little bit too much. I don't know. Either way, McGlade is past both of them and into P16. Matthew Clip, though, if you are an Eidos fan, get your tissues out, because it's nosebleed time. Up into P8, he's just overtaken Gergo Baldi there. And behind, Niels Brugman, his teammate, has actually benefited. He's up into P10, still holding off Chris Shepard. So for this Enterprise duo, so often in 2016, we saw the Enterprises together. And I get the feeling it's going to be another trend going into 2018. Further up, by the way, completely missed this. Eric Strana's off the podium in an eerily similar fashion, albeit a lot earlier in the race, to Poznan race 3. He was leading. Now he's not even on the podium. Fidek second. Patel has gotten into P3. Strana fourth. Siggy pinches. Oh, pinches is past Richards, actually. So the Hungarian making up time. Richards 7th, and then it's basically the rest of the point scorers. All led by Matthew Klipp in this Mercedes. As I said, the Mercedes into those braking zones should be very good. That is its defining characteristic as a car. Baldi then P8. Brugman 9th. Shepard, Delgado, Bell's made his way past Muru, of course, and Campfield still there, P15. Ahead of Lewis McGlade in 16th, ahead of Chris Butcher. Halfway through this race, over halfway through this race, I should say, it's lap 7 of 11 here. And it's, I'll tell you what, this battle for the lead still isn't over. Schoenvliet and Feidek wait free, looking to try and pull away from Patel. Still there, Estrada in 4th with Siggy, pinches, Richards in that midfield battle. It's still Klipp who's been able to hold on to Gergo Baldi. Niels Brugman now. I think Niels Brugman's the one under the most threat here. As there goes Shepard up the inside in typical Shepard fashion. Niels Brugman holds on for now. And like I said, he is the one in danger at the moment, I feel. I don't think he's going to want to attack his teammate. As they brake hard there into Garage Vert. And still remain line astern. Matthew Klipp starting to scurry away. I'm delighted for him, I really am. All he needs is clean races, honestly. And he can score points. Was that Niels Brugman looking on Baldi? I think it might have been. Maybe they're not allowed to fight. Or maybe they are allowed to fight, I should say. And now we can fight. They've got to make sure that they don't lose position to Shepard and the flurry of cars behind them. Mike Bell looking up the inside of Pedro Delgado in the second half of the S. Very opportunistic move. And actually, is that Shepard looking up the inside of Brugman? Yeah, he's trying to look every which way, Chris Shepard. Although it's in this part of the race where we're kind of expecting the Enterprises to come into their own. They really saved the tyres at Poznan. And it meant that in the last quarter of the race, they are able to really go for it. I'm just wondering whether they're pulling the same strategy now, as Baldi already seems to be closing onto the back of Matthew Klipp once again. Look at that. Goodness me. Goodness me. It's almost as if a switch has been flicked. He can't throw anything up into the inside of La Chapelle. In fact, Baldi goes very deep. And look at Niels Brugman there, braking, making sure that he doesn't overtake Baldi. I think this is planned by them. I don't think Brugman's going to fight too hard. Chris Shepard, though, he is going to fight hard on Brugman behind. And that non-selfish action might come to... Oh, it says Delgado behind. Yes, it is. Delgado! Oh, McGlade goes flying into him. And that's going to be huge damage on the car. It's Patel's round and Siggy's round. Oh, my goodness me. What happened there? Strana was looking to fight Patel. And did he just go to the inside? No, Patel just lost it on his own. Flicked it round. And Patel's now out the points. Crazy. So Pinches is up to 4th. Richards 5th. Siggy 6th. Klipp up to 7th. Baldi 8th, and in all of that, Niels Brugman has still been able to hold on to P9, although Chris Shepard continues to mount a charge. The rest of your point scorers now, Bell, Muru, Campfield, Butcher up into the points, Mayer up into the points, potential double score for Eidos. And look at Keithley, now, fighting away with Patel, and really performing a touring car move. These are 3 guys who are not going to be happy. Keithley for his qualifying performance, Patel for losing it all on his own, and 4-wheel drifting around the final corner, and Lewis McGlade, who's been in so many incidents that I'm sure he's going to... I wonder whether he's live streaming. It might be worth a look, actually, because I feel the profanities might be coming out after this race. It is lap 9 of 11 here at Le Mans Bugatti. And now the front 2 have really started to stretch away because of that incident, because of that half Patel spin. Schoenvliet and Feidek 3 seconds ahead of Eric Strana, now back on the podium. Pinch is a brilliant 4th. What a find for Smile Power. He does have pedigree in the e-racing scene. And a shrewd signing there. Actually, I know he's been signed by ACR Zach Speed, actually, so on loan to the Smile Power team for this particular event, or for this particular series, I should say. Richard P5 and ahead of Kevin Siggy. That might be crucial in the championship battle. And then still, the Enterprises, they absolutely have to have been saving their tyres, surely. because Matt Clip once again under all sorts of pressure from Gogo Baldi. Niels Brugman there as well, Chris Shepherd there as well, Mike Bell not really involved in this battle. Nothing to be doing into Shemin Obuf, I should say. But they've got to do something quickly because Chris Shepherd remains ever vigilant. You can see Adrian Campfield there. Despite his 10th-place grid penalty, he's done well to move his way back up the order. Uru Butcher and Mayer still rounding out the point scorers. Daniele Brambilla becomes our third retirement of the race. And we do have a very interesting finish to this race in store, I think, on all fronts. Again, the gap really not big enough for Fido to capitalise on up there in front. Strana and Pinches in no man's land. So I think this battle for the top 5 in particular is very much on. Because Richards is now under all sorts of pressure once again from Kevin Siggy. Remember, the rear-wheel drive with just innately better tyre wear. It's just a natural thing for the car. As Matthew Clip there with a little bit of a lock-up on the brakes. I saw Gogo Baldi going deep, but he didn't lock up, so he's saving the tyres. I get the impression that if any of these 3 behind Clip, if they were able to get, as a lock-up there from Baldi, Clip starting to break a little bit earlier, I feel, maybe losing a bit of the tyres. If any of those 3 behind were to get past Clip, I do think they'd have a chance at Siggy or Richards. Another lock-up from Baldi into Garage Vert. And time running out. This, of course, the penultimate lap now. There must have been, yeah, it was a mistake from Baldi there, locking up once again. Is that all? Was that a lock of the brakes from Siggy as well? People really starting to struggle in these last stages. It is less of a tyre-eating circuit than Poznan. That much can be assumed, but you can't play rough with these tyres in any situation. A soft tyre is just a better tyre to be on, but you've got to treat it right. Is up ahead. Is that a move? Yes, it is. Siggy on Richards. Final lap for our leaders. But Siggy all over the back of the Welshman now. And what about Clip and Baldi? That's kind of bunched them up. I think, if anything, it's probably Brugman looking for a move on his teammate. Into the Dunlop curve, and then the Dunlop chicane we go then with these 5. Matt Richards remaining ahead of Siggy. Brugman choosing to fall in behind, and because he's chosen to fall in behind, that's really caught out Chris Shepherd. Is that going to allow Mike Bell through? That might be the best thing to happen to Brugman all race long. Bell dives on the inside of La Chapelle and really takes advantage of that checkup from Niels Brugman. Shepherd caught out. Good news for him is that if he remains in P11, he won't be starting with weight ballast. He wants the points, though. Throwing it up the inside of Mike Bell, though. Once Bell is passed, it's very hard to answer with a reply. An astute defender is the Englishman, and doing well to have caught up here, almost into the back of Brugman as well there. Watch out for Campfield, watching brief. He'll be looking to pick up any pieces. I think we have to go back up to the front, though, because it is still 3/10 separating the 2. David Fidek. Is he willing to risk the car? It's good points for Epic. It's amazing points for Adonis, though. Such a disappointing round 1 in Poznan. Unless Fidek throws it up the inside here, I don't think he's going to do it. Oh, he does have a little check to the inside. But unless Schonfleet goes wide, which he does, to be fair. Not wide enough, though. He's not going to do it. And it is Arnie Schonfleet who takes the win here in race 1 at Le Mans. It is Fidek on the podium, P2, and Strana from pole position picks up P3. Pinches 4th with Richards, Siggy, Cliff, Baldi, Brugman, and Bell rounding out the top 10. Shepherd, Campfield, Butcher, Muru, and Jack Keithley in the end, picking up a point. So ACR did double score, but nowhere near the amount of points that they would have wanted. The rest of your finishers, Mayer, McGlade after a troublesome race, Patel after that spin from the podium, Delgado after a spin in the midfield, Yunt, Ruder, Potters, Lindbergh, Willis, Olsen, who didn't make up much ground, Morby and Frith, your last of the finishers. Brambilla, Yayovsky, and Benton, your 3 retirements from that race. So much more like the form we were expecting from Schonbleet, one of the championship protagonists in World GT this year. And yeah, really showing up when it mattered. David Fidek, I was worried about him going into this season. Very hit and miss when it came to previous results, showing that he absolutely has the mettle to mash it with these ITC guys. Eric Strana, man, he will be disappointed. He will be disappointed. Any time in the past you'd look at Eric Strana on pole position and you'd think easy win, no question whatsoever. Just didn't have the pace. Of course, that podium actually means that we do continue our trend of having a new race winner and 2 brand new podium sitters for the year in the same evening. Pinches with a brilliant result up there in P4. I think Richards and Siggy can be very proud of themselves as well. Maximum weight ballast. And to come on P5 and P6, that's brilliant. Matt Clip, P7. I know Eidos missed out on the double point score, but that is 9 points to their total. That could be massive come the end of the season. Enterprise with solid point scores there. P8, P9. So that's 15 overall, which actually means that out of the top 3 going into this round, they actually scored the most points in race 1. Bell there. And again, Smile Power, not going to put up any trees. At least I initially thought Pinches might very well be in with a shout of a podium or maybe a win in later races. But look at them again, consistent point scoring. Shepard will be disappointed to have finished outside the top 11, but he will have no weight ballast, so should not be underestimated for race 2. Campfield, of course, caught up in that messy battle with Butcher. The two of them very much going at it in the post-drivers cooldown. Cooldown. Ha! That's funny. Again, it was a little bit naughty from Butcher, I feel, to force him out wide. But then again, there's a lot of that battle which we didn't see. So maybe it was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. The aforementioned Butcher actually behind there in P13. Muru, again, picking up points for TTF. Though not enough. Not enough. You can't just score little points and expect to not get relegated. Keithley picking up a point there. He's also going to have no weight ballast along with Butcher, so they should be watched out for in race number 2. Paul McGlade and Patel, though, they'll be devastated with that. Again, they won't have weight ballast, but I think it's going to be harder for them to struggle back up through the field. The best case scenario for them is that they have a good race 2 and find themselves in the top 15 at the very least, so that they're in with a shot of that reverse grid pole position. And really, I should take a picture of that order because that's important. Yeah. So, for the second time this evening, Pinches, Richards, Siggy, Baldy, and Brugman, they're all going to have weight ballast, but poor Schonble's going to have 75 kilos on that car for race 2. Ripperoni in pepperonis. You know, let's see whether we can go to YouTube. Let's see whether we can go to the YouTube chat and have a bit of inter-talking. Yovsky, what was that T1? Honestly, well, we know where he finished. To be fair, says the guy who picked up a 30-place grid penalty from last race. Just saying. It's often the thing. It was kind of a feature of my ITC career. Was I always had the pace to do well in qualifying, and I had the pace to score decently in the race. It was ironically quite similar to Strana now, in that you'd start up high, but then you'd fall back as the race went on because I didn't have the race pace. But more often than not, I put myself in a bad position, which meant that more often than not, I ended up not scoring or not scoring as much as I should have. And it's one of those key skills that you have to learn in the International Touring Cup. The only way which you are going to score on a consistent basis is A, if you're at the front all the time, or B, if you don't go for silly moves, / put your car in a bad position. It is always better to be safe than sorry in ITC, because you saw from that Patel incident, from the Delgado incident, from the Butcher Campfield incident, stuff happens in ITC. Always does. It's a hallmark of this series. So just play it cool. You'll probably pick up positions for free through a race. Always happens. Doesn't matter how good the field gets. I also noticed that we're currently running the Italian Grand Prix. It's not ITC. So maybe worth something changing, or maybe worth changing that, Argo. Because this isn't the WTF1 Super League Round 13 from Italy. No, I'm off that series now. Man, I'm feeling sassy today. It's almost like the essence of Smithy has just taken over my brain. Love it. Right. Hello, chat. I can see you now. How are we doing? Oh, dear. I've got an awful cold. Goodness me. Esports bumper cars, yeah. Subaru's underpowered. Tell that to Edge Esports. They're doing well with it. Oh, shut up, James. It's understeer. I know it's understeer. Are there weight penalties? Yes. Definitely the Italian WTF1 Super League. Yup. Yep, that's right. I'm on a super official contract to commentate this series. There are 3 tyre compounds. Not if you're a driver. There are only 2. The hard compound. What even is the hard compound? Danny Sharanku asked the cameraman for onboards. We might do some onboards. There might have already been some onboards. I don't know. That commentator knows his French. Almost no accent. Yeah. So I actually did French at school for 5 years. And I was always told, James, you can't remember French words if you were paid to do it. But your accent is brilliant. Like, if you went into the middle of Paris and read a sentence, people would think you're a native. And so I take that as a big compliment, and I leave it there. Man, look how super official this is. Again, you can tell that we've got no staff behind the scenes because we've not even got a decent screen. So apologies for the poor broadcast quality. Send your complaints to the top brass, please. I'm just a caster. Nobody likes me. He's just a caster from a poor family. Spare him his life from this monstrosity. Wow, going into Bohemian Rhapsody as well. James Kirk solo broadcast. When was the last time I did this? I don't know. I really don't know. I shouldn't be allowed to. Waiting for having a chat with you, James, then. Bonjour. Je m'appelle James. J'adore le esports. Or is it sports le I don't know. I think esports is its own thing, right? It's one of those fancy new words which you just say in a French accent. I've got to be careful with my voice as well. I've got a busy weekend ahead, guys. Seriously. 3 broadcasts, I want to say. Yeah, no, definitely 3 broadcasts, actually, over the weekend. So, lots going on for me. Thankfully, I've got Friday off, so I can rest my voice then. But my voice, it can't take anymore. 。 Esports is universal. I thought so. I thought so. Although you spelled it wrong. It's capital E lowercase s. Honestly, I get so triggered. I get so triggered when they say lowercase e, uppercase s. I know it looks cool. And I know that e-racing is lowercase e, uppercase r. But, yeah, the official word from the guys up the top say uppercase e. No hyphen either. If you are a man or a woman that uses a hyphen in your esports, excuse me, what? Sacre bleu. Sacre bleu. Although I know sacre bleu doesn't really mean anything in French, does it? It's just one of those things that us English have picked up as, ha ha! Oh, don't you start, Edge. I've enabled you now. That's the problem. Next thing we know will be lowercase e, uppercase d. And then an uppercase e at the end. Just because. Alright, thankfully. You don't have to hear me ramble for too much longer. Oh, God, I thought one of the guys said Kirk in the race chat then. I thought I've missed something. No, it's Kick. But yes, warm-up is almost over now. So less of me rambling and more of me rambling as we head into race 2. I'll be sure to give you the whole rundown. Weight ballast and such. Cool, that was a crash. Goodness me. Don't know who it was, but it sounded big. And don't ask me about championship standings either. I am trying my best here. I can't do maths and other stuff. Our name is our name, not a type of sport. Very true. Very true, actually. Yes. But it was also a joke. As always, the Rfactor 2 man comes to my rescue. All right. Let's have a little look at what we've got then. So, of course, a reminder that the finishing order of this race is actually going to be super important when it comes to race 3. Because we have that reverse grid of a randomly generated number between 10 and 15. So keep an eye on those positions, as they might see some very interesting faces pop up to the front. The top 10 is as they are. Lovely. And that means that we can get on with it. So we saw that weight ballast, if you're driving well, if you're in a decent car, then you should be all right. Of course, different drivers respond to different challenges, and that is a very true statement for Arnie Schoenvliet. After winning his first race in the International Touring Cup, he starts here on pole position with 75 kilograms of weight ballast. Big job for him ahead. Feidek then, P2 for Epic. He's going to be picking up as soon as my internet decides to respond. I think I'm going to close YouTube just for the sake of it. I might come back to you guys later. But right now I need as much RAM as possible. Give me more RAM. There we go. 66 kilograms for Feidek. It is then 57 kilograms for Strana, 48 kilograms for Pinches, 39 kilograms for Richards, 27 kilograms for Siggy, 21 kilograms for Clip. Has an IDOS ever had weight ballast? I'm not sure it has. 27 for Clip, 21 for Baldy, 15 for Brugman, and 9 for Mike Bell. Behind the top 10, we then have Chris Shepherd, Adrian Campfield, Chris Butcher, Branu Muru, Jack Keithley, Jack Mayer, Lewis McGlade, Mohammed Patel. Remember, those two who wanted to fight their way up into the top 15 for a chance of redemption in race 3. Pedro Delgado, David Junt, Tristan Potters, Johan Lindberg, Ben Willis, Tobias Olsen, Philip Morby, Tyron Frith, And then our 3 retirements from last race, Daniele Brambilla, Erhan Yujovski, and Kyle Benton. He rounds out the grid as car number 29. That is because we've already lost one of the Rowan GP cars. Fabian Ruder is gone. And in a team where they are almost nailed on for relegation, that is just a further nail in the coffin, unfortunately. A real problem there for Rowan GP. They signed the same lineup which they had last year, in which they finished 14th out of the teams. And the bottom 4's getting relegated this year. Makes no sense to me. Maybe it's just a friendly team, but then... Actually, mind you, nobody knew about the 2 divisions until it was announced. Maybe they'll see it as a good thing. I don't know. I would never like to be relegated from anything, honestly. I know that heartache as a Swansea City supporter in the Championship now. So, round the final corner then comes Kyle Benton and Erhan Yujovski. And in fact, they are going to start on the final corner in a weird and wonderful way. Let's get this weird and wonderful race 2 underway ourselves then. Up at the front, we are racing once again at Le Mans Bugatti. And it is a poor start there from Adam Pinches, who's already fallen behind Siggy and Richards. Remember, Siggy in that rear-wheel drive should be scything his way through the field, and indeed he is. It's another poor start from David Fidek. Strana making his way past him. And is he going to be overtaken by Matt Richards as well? Fidek braking so late around the Dunlop curve, and Kevin Siggy swiping off across the nose to make sure that that doesn't become a trend. Behind Richards and Fidek still battling fine. Look at that. The MG, brilliant in those mid-speed corners. Just going clean around the outside of Fidek. Thank you very much. Baldy's had a good start, although look at that in the background. That's a Brugmanov, I think. And one of the other cars, I don't quite know who, his teammate Baldy's up to P6. I'm going to take a little look at that incident back there. Brugman all the way down to P18. He was in battle with Adrian Campfield. And, oh yeah, the cars locking onto each other. We saw that at Poznan. If you turn in too much, then that's going to happen. Brugman all the way down in P18. Now, where did Campfield end up? Campfield out of this race, as is Daniele Brambilla for CM Tech in the early stages. Back up at the front, though. Oh, look at Gergo Baldy here. Fidek off the track, and is Baldy going to overtake Fidek? Oh, it's been an awful start for the Englishman. Is he going to be overtaken by Pinches as well, who had a bad start himself? Pinches going to go all the way around the outside of Gergo Baldy here. No, not all the way around the outside. Baldy holds on for now. And look at Siggy. He's gone off the track, so Richards is through. And that's because Strana was off the track, bizarrely. Manic start to race 1 here, but at the end of it all, it is Chauvelin to still lead from Richards, Siggy, Strana, Baldy, Pinches, Shepherd, Fidek, Bell, and Butcher, who's made an excellent start. He's up into the top 10. Keithley as well. He's up to P11. Clip down to P12, but Glade up into the top 15, as is Patel, so they've made the starts that they need. Muru P15, Mayer on the outside of the points P16, and there is Niels Brugman looking to get back into that in P17, along with David Junt. Up the front, Mike Bell, oh, is that David Fidek losing positions? Goodness me. Shepherd through, Bell through, Fidek down to P9, and behind him now the 2 ACRs battling. The weight ballast really, really hurting David Fidek here in these early stages. He would have felt nothing like it, that's for certain. 66 kilograms on board that epic car. Long race ahead of him is Niels Brugman and Jack Mayer there going into battle, into Garage Fair. The Englishman on the inside. Brugman going to try and get the undercut on the inside of this exit now, but no, Mayer covers it well. Got to watch out for David Jump behind. And Ben Willis. Tobias Olsen as well, he's made a decent start along with Yujovski up to 21st and 22nd respectively. Gergo Baldy's up to 4th. Gergo Baldy on an absolute storm here in race 2. Made his way past Eric Strana, who continues to suffer on the race pace front. Adam Pinches and Chris Shepherd in behind. Mike Bell then follows by David Fidek, still holding off Butcher and Keithley. Clip P12, followed by Lewis McGlade, and Lewis McGlade looking on the inside of Record de Mont. That's not going to happen, but look at Reinu Muru looking to go around the outside of both himself and Patel. Patel, oh, gets it all wrong on the curbing, and that might allow Mayer and Brugman into this battle as well. Brugman already got a little bit of purchase on the Englishman. Up ahead, I should say. Patel is now going to gift some slip between to Brugman. Almost going to go 3 wide around the Dunlop curve. Moving and shaking. Muru's been shifted out of the points. And Niels Brugman's taken full advantage of that. He's now up into P16, is he? Not able to get past Jack Mayer just yet, who continues to hold on resolutely. Brilliant defending here in the early stages. And a little bit of a break through La Chapelle. That could allow Niels Brugman in now. I'll tell you what, for Niels Brugman's early encounter with Adrian Campfield, he has provided an excellent battle and an excellent journey up in the midfield here. No, not able to get past Jack Mayer still. As up at the front, it's a change for the leaders in. No! Arnie Schonvliet holding on to first. Desperately holding on for first. It is nose to tail, first to second. And surely the 75 kilograms was going to catch up with the Dutchman eventually. They're just heading into the buffs as all around the outside goes Matt Richards. Surely not. No, he has to put him under a lot of pressure now from Kevin Siggy, who's going to try and go up the inside of the S. Watch out for Gergo Baldi as well, though, and Eric Strana, and also Chris Shepherd, who looks to go up the inside of Eric Strana now. No holds barred, a little bit of contact between Siggy and Richard. Siggy, Rebenak up the inside of Record them on. The Subaru Edge driver into second. Behind Baldi remains in fourth. And is Chris Shepherd through on pinches? Yes, he is. So the Englishman now up into P6. Watch out for the rebuttal, though. Matt Richards on Kevin Siggy. Schonvliet must be thanking his lucky stars that these two are going at it. And no, he breaks late and he dives inside. Contact between the two. And that was always going to be opportunistic from Matt Richards. Gergo Baldi scurries on through into P2. Shepherd as well, a little bit deep there from Baldi. Look at Eric Strana going around the outside of Shepherd, who's on the side. The two Smile Powers laughing away. More consistent points potentially. And on the inside goes Shepherd. Where on earth did Richards and Siggy end up after all of that? Are they outside the points? Yes, they are. Plumb last. 26th and 27th. ITC 2018. There is a twist at every turn, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of twists and turns, Gergo Baldi now in a prime position to maybe fight for this win, along with Eric Strana. I told you to watch out for Chris Shepherd, didn't I? No weight ballast on that car. The Englishman could be in with a very good shot of the win here as well. So it's Pinches and Bell, then followed by Butcher and Keithley. So the ACRs working their way back up the order nicely. Fidek still struggling down there in P9. Chris McGlade and Mohamed Patel could not have gone any better for them. P10 and P11 almost all but secures them both a reverse grid start. Mayer P12, Olsen 13th, Brugman up into the top 15 as well. Lindberg up into points as well, P15. So for Yojovski, not worked out. He's still P27. And Matthew Klipp as well, he's had a poor race too. He's down to P21. So back up to the front then. Gergo Baldi still trying to hold off Eric Strana and Chris Shepherd. But all three of these guys are beginning to close on Schonvliet once again. Behind, Pinches and Bell and Butcher, they're all trying to catch up. Keithley being a little bit left behind, it must be said. And actually, Baldi almost the cork of this bottle at the moment. I know they're all catching up to Arnie Schonvliet, but he is definitely the head of the train. As actually Shepherd through on Strana. Did not notice that. He must have sent one up the inside. The Englishman making power moves. I did say the Honda was looking to be one of the stronger cars around this circuit, and proving so. Into Garage Vert. It does look like it's only going to be a matter of time before he overtakes Gergo Baldi here. That's for certain. The Englishman looking rapid. As further behind, McGlade and Patel slightly exchange positions. McGlade stays ahead for now. We have to keep an eye on this P2 battle, to be fair. It remains as enticing as ever. The front, or these two actually now, Baldy and Shepard starting to gap Strana. Shepard sends it up the inside of the S. He looks at every opportunity, does Chris Shepard. Tries to go around the outside of the S now. Going well off track, it must be said, in doing that as well. Strana just holding on from pinches. And into record them on. They still hold on, although that's really wide from Gergo Baldy. You can't go side by side there, certainly, as Patel's off. Patel's off again. And what happened this time? He just sent it up the inside. Oh, he lost it under braking again, just went into the side of McGlade. And Patel, after such a consistently good round one, is having a round two to forget. Back up to Baldy Shepard. Strana and Pinches have re-caught up to this battle again. And once again, Baldy with a very deep line into La Chapelle. He almost invites the driver behind him onto him. But I guarantee you that that's part and parcel of him saving the tyres. It has to be. It is now a train going all the way down to P7. Chris Butcher just catching up onto the back of this slot. And is Shepard going to try and send one up the inside of Garage Fair again? No. Just taking a little look down the order. Patel's spin means that Mayer's now up to P11. Brogman P12. So he's actually gotten past Lindbergh. Olsen up to P13 himself. Lindbergh down to P14. And Philip Morby down there in P15 trying to get a point on the board for Racing Team Stroton. Got to watch out for Kyle Benton as well, though. The Aurora, who was out in the early stages of race one, having a pretty decent redemption drive here in race number 2. Only 1 second away from his first point of the season. Pedro Delgado, actually, the other of the Racing Team Schrotons, just gone out of the race. Richards P20, Siggy still only P23. A lot of work for them to do in race 3. As look at this now. Look at this now, Argo. I told you that the gap, despite how much Baldy is defending, the gap is still coming down to Schonvliet. And here on lap 7 of 11, once again, just over that halfway stage, the gap is only 5 tenths to Schonvliet. Shepard can absolutely win this race. And you know what? He's going to try and get into P2 here. Tries to brake late around the outside of the Dunlop curve. Baldy brakes very late himself. Brilliant defending here. But now Shepard's going to be on the outside. And this could cause serious trouble for Baldy, who likes to take that deep line. Doors matching. Oh, yep, there it is. There it is. Called it, didn't I? Absolutely called it. Not much you can do there. And Strana P2 now, past Shepard once again. Mike Bell into P4. He's only 1 step away from a podium. Pinch is 5th. Butcher 6th. Keithley 7th. And Baldy shuffled all the way down to P8. Surely going to be feeling aggrieved at that one. Again, positive thinking though. He's going to be in a much better position, I should say, when it comes to race 3. And that is where Enterprise as a whole excelled last time in Poznan, looking at Brogman down there in P12, certainly. So then, Strana, after losing the lead and just about getting a podium in race 1, now all of a sudden battling for that lead once again. Schonvliet really struggling. And there goes Shepard up the inside. Strana's trying on the outside of Schonvliet at the same time. Around the outside now goes Chris Shepard. And does he have a bit of purchase? No. Strana stays put, but here goes Shepard up the inside of Strana now into Recordamont, and Strana seriously outbrakes himself. Mike Bell's going to go through and challenge for the podium here. We're on the home straight now, lap 8 of 11, I should say. And what Strana's advantage is he's picking up the slipstream of Chris Shepard ahead. Round the Dunlop curve, yep, he's going to remain in P3. And Bell's going to dive deep, though, into the corner. Bangs against Strana's door. Strana holds on for now, but this could allow Bell's teammate Adam Pinches into the whole story. As there goes Shepard up the inside of Schonvliet, trying to muscle his way through, banging doors. It has not been a clean race from Shepard, not by any stretch of the imagination. Whether he's gone over the line, that is for the DC to decide. For now, on track, up into P1. Schonvliet P2, and immediately under pressure from Eric Strana here, looking for that P2, looking for his second consecutive podium in 2 races. Around the outside of Garage Fair, look at Bell, but look at Pinches as well, who's fallen behind Butcher. And Keithley, contact between Strana and Bell. as they head onto this second straight, going towards Cheminobu. Baldy past Pinches as well into P7. Don't know what happened to the Hungarian there. But Shepard now flying away with that pace. It's easier said than done, but with no weight ballast, it sure does help. Behind, Fidek still. Fidek's in this battle, actually. P9 and Lewis McGlade far behind in P10. Mayer 11th, Brugman, Olsen, Lindberg, Morby still rounding out the bottom point scorers. Back up to the battle for the podium, though. Strana on the back of Schoenvliet. Tucks up in nicely. Laps. There's still a couple of laps to make something happen. But Strana wants to make it now. He goes slightly ahead as we head into the braking zone for the chicane. Schoenvliet breaks later, goes ahead, and that was Baldy going very wide indeed. Looking to defend off Pinches, and now Pinches up the inside. Look at Fidek as well, looking to take advantage of this battle to try and make it two. And look how deep Baldy goes again. Sweeps in, loses position to Pinches, but should stay ahead of Fidek. That move bit him though. It bit him so hard in the battle for Shepard. As Belcher on the podium, is he? No, he breaks late, tries to go around the outside, but he's got great pace around the outside as well. Look at this. Prove me wrong. Why don't you, Bell? Up the inside of Ver, and oh, that's not the way you want to do it. But he is through. He doesn't punt Strana off the circuit. Bell's onto the podium. Crazy, crazy race here. And Bell could have a shot at P2 at that as well. Strana, now he has to look behind him at the two ACRs of Butcher and Keithley. How Schoenvliet's remained in P2 this race, I do not know. I do not know. Bell holding on desperately to P3 now. Strana's surely got to be riled up by that. And old Butcher has to go very wide under braking. Constantina effect. The two ACRs bang doors again. Butcher stays ahead. That allows Pinches and Baldy and Fidek into the battle. McGlade catching onto the back of this too. Lap 10 of 11. Bell breaks a little early. Doesn't go for a move onto Schoenvliet. Chooses to defend off Strana rather than attack. Although he does mount the curbing on the inside exit of the chicane. Strana looking to go all the way around the outside. No, not going to happen this time. Everyone really line astern, to be honest. There's been a massive gap opened up with all of the incidents going on across the field. And look at this. Is that Strana being overtaken by Butcher as well now? I think it might be. As Bell looks to mount his assault on Schoenvliet for P2. Butcher here looks to go around the outside of Garage Ver on the Red Bull Street Fighter of Strana. Strana has the inside line though. That's going to work much better. Keithley actually offers Butcher a lot of room on exit. So they remain in those positions for now. And there's Bell up ahead, looking to the outside of Schoenvliet. Looking to go around the outside of Shemin. Oh, boof. This would be a hell of a move if he can pull that off. The two still go side by side. I don't know whether that was off track. You can hardly go side by side through there. Bell's going to make it though, isn't he? Schoenvliet going to try and remain on the inside. Oh, he is going to try and keep it late on the brakes. Side by side still. Strana looking eager. Around the outside of Recordermont. No, this could be where Schoenvliet drops like a stone. Bell through. Strana through. Is Butcher going to go through as well? Final lap of this race. And still plenty of positions to switch and change. Butcher going to go around the outside of the Dunlop curve. Bell scurries away in P2. And Butcher does indeed maintain that P4. Oh, he breaks into the backside. Oh, Keithley hits his own teammate. Crazy. Absolutely crazy from those guys. And behind, Baldy goes wide, so Fidek inherits P9. Schoenvliet under all sorts of pressure now. Butcher and Keithley through to 4th and 5th, so it didn't affect them too much. Schoenvliet P6, Pinches P7, Fidek then up into P8, Baldy P9. And still trying to hold off from Lewis McGlade here, who's going to look to go around the outside of them all. Honestly, I'd hold position, Lewis, if I were you. guarantee yourself that good position for race 3. But look at Baldy looking to break around the outside and go around the outside of Fidek at Garage there. Not going to happen. And it's not been a clean race. That much is for certain. And really, the only battle out on track now would be Schonvliet v Pinches and Fidek v Baldy and McGlade. Going into these final stages, though, it is just simply so difficult to overtake Mayer and Brugman as well in last-minute shenanigans. But, oh, Schonvliet's off! Oh, my goodness, Schonvliet is off, but we have to go back to the front, Argo, because round the final corner he comes. There will be a lot more to be decided after this race, believe you me. Chris Shepherd, though, on track, wins here in Le Mans. Bell comes home P2. Strana picks up 2 podiums in the space of 2 races. Butcher 4th, Keithley 5th, Pinches, Fidek, Baldy, McGlade and Schonvliet round out the top 10. Schonvliet will start off our potential reverse grid pole position sitters. Brugman gains position P11, so he did overtake Jack Mayer at the end, P12. Olsen 13th, Lindbergh 14th, and Philip Morby picking up a point for Racing Team Stroton P50. Matt Richards so close yet so far to recovering there after that incident with Kevin Siggy. Muru 17th, Patel 18th, to a non-score from Edge Esports, massive. Benton 19th, Potters 20th. They're followed on by Yayovsky, Clips, Siggy, Rebenak, Willis, Yunt, and Frith. Delgado, Camfield, and Brambilla, your 3 retirements. Goodness me, what a race. But for very different reasons. For very different reasons indeed. Goodness me. This championship continues to astound me. It really does. I get a feeling Shepherd feels that he might have done something wrong in that. The front end tangle he mentions. I don't know. Those things are so difficult though, because we've seen that happen a few times now over the 5 races that we've witnessed. And it varies as well on how aggressive you are about whether, driver on the outside is turning in, whether driver on the outside is going outwards. Ultimately, one for the DC to decide. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. I would not want to be in their shoes at all. And so a reminder that the top 10 now also receive the weight ballast again. Gergo Baldy. Oh. I was thinking he was angry, but I think he's just accepted it as a racing incident, which would be nice to see. It's nice not to see drivers going at each other's throats, honestly. What a big incident between Siggy and Richards, though. Because given how good a round Shepherd is currently having, Keithley, their rounds are middling. Shepherd could be in strong contention to go into the lead of the championship after this. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. Right, I'm going to be returning to YouTube chat. Let me know what you thought of that race. Do you think anyone was at fault for the Shepherd Baldy contact? Was there any star of the race for you? I mean, for me, Mike Bell, goodness. I know some of his moves were a little bit rugged, but P2, Mike Bell, not in a reverse grid race? What is this? Is that his first podium in ITC? Surely not. Wow, okay, here we go. Mike Bell has had 4 podiums in his ITC career, which now spans 66 races. This was his first podium since the Czech Republic Race 3 in 2014. It has been over 4 years since Mike Bell had a podium. And I feel pretty confident in saying that is going to be the best of the lot. Crazy. For Strana, that is now 23 podiums in his ITC career. Actually, his one in race 1 was his first since the very last race at the very last round of 2016. He then took a year off in 2017, of course, so coming back in the form which we were kind of expecting. And for Shepherd, he did win. This is Shepherd's 5th win. He picked up all 4 of his previous wins last year in 2017, if memory serves me correct. So win number 5 in race number 77. Of course, he's now going to have maximum weight ballast for race 2, or for race 3, I should say. And what we saw from Kevin Siggy in race 3 at Poznan was barely any movement. So he would do very well to make his way up the order for sure. I think at some point I will have to invest in a new PC. Because trying to run all this on a laptop at that as well. It's creaking, it's struggling, you can hear it. Don't worry, guys, I'm going to be with you soon. It just takes so long for everything to load up nowadays. Goodness me. Processor hog. It's still the Italian Grand Prix, by the way. Totally not ITC Round 2 in France. Right then, let's have a little look in Jeffrey Fournier, you are the man. Thank you so much. So big thanks to the Frenchman who has figured out our live point standings, actually. So Chris Shepherd has indeed taken the lead of the championship with that win on 66 points. Siggy is second on 58. Richard's third on 56. Baldy only a point behind them on 55. And then Butcher and Fiduk on 48 points apiece. Which should surely mean that Epic Racing are in the lead of the team's title as well. Got to be. Yep, thought so. So Epic is, wow. Epic's had a really good round overall, haven't they? So 114 for Epic. 89 for both ACR and Enterprise. So still inseparable on the points front. Smile after that, those brilliant first 2 races on 88. So they're in the top 4. Crazy. Edge from leading the teams down to 5th, 82. Wow. Very provisional. Yeah, of course. To be fair, as I say, I would not be surprised if there were penalties from both races to come out as well. Although I don't know how the DC are wanting to do it. I don't know whether they're looking to put an emphasis on grid penalties as opposed to time penalties, because grid penalties tend to make more sense. It means that you don't have to jiggle with the order as much. You can just focus on qualifying. As my Rfactor, it's still loading. It's mental. Speaking of Italy, though, a reminder that our third round of the season actually is in Italy, and we're going to the rather famous motorcycle circuit of Misano, which promises to be a very interesting one. A lot of people raised their eyebrows at that selection. It's going to be pretty hard on the tyres, I imagine. Slow speed corners should be preferable for the Astra, I've heard. So go the rumours. And so finally back in here. And or at least I think the guards are in the carriage. GPVWC. Come on. There we go. So we're just awaiting now the reverse grid number, which again, I remind you, is anywhere between 10 and 15. Reverse grid pole position potential drivers are actually include Arnie Schoenvliet there in P10. So we might get to start 2 races from pole position. Niels Olsen, Johan Lindberg, and Philip Morby. I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, that'd be massive for Morby, for Lindberg, for Mayer. Those guys, you know, with teams maybe in and around the relegation scrap. I'm thinking that'd be pretty massive for the likes of Brugman and Olsen. 2 teams looking at the higher end of the standings. And it looks like we've had our reverse grid number, although I don't know what it is. Oh, wow. Well, that says it all. Philip Morby moved to P1, which means that we have a full reverse grid of 15. Wow. And we're moving to race already. Wow. You know what? I've got a very, very solid idea in my mind of who's going to win these 3. But I'll leave that to once we get on the formation lap. I've got a very solid idea, though, because it just makes sense given that top 6. Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now? Oh, dearie me. My Rfactor 2 has been brilliant tonight, let me tell you. I almost thought it was going to top itself by crashing as we go to the grid. Thankfully, not so. Okay. This could be a massive race for the relegation battle. This could be a massive race in the relegation battle. It all depends on how clean it is. As here we go, my Rfactor decided to continue to throw a loop. And actually, very beautiful situation here for Philip Morby, who is going to lead us off on pole for Racing Team Schroten. He's in a rear-wheel drive with no one ahead of him. His start could be sensational. He's got to try and beat out, though, Johan Lindberg, who was a massive star in Poznan Race 3. He'll be looking to score another good amount of points for that team. Tobias Olsen. He's my favourite going into race 3. Fast driver, previous race winner. I think the Red Bull Street Fighter's one to watch out for. He's joined by Jack Mayer alongside him in the Mercedes Eidos. Niels Brugman, another previous race winner, 5 in the Enterprise. And of course, Arnie Schonfleet has won this evening. Starting P6, but with weight ballast as well. Remember, 9 kilograms on board that Honda. It's then McGlade for Aurora, Baldy for Enterprise, Fidek for Epic, and Adam Pinches for Smile, rounding out the top 10. The 2 ACRs of Keithley and Butcher line up 11th and 12th. Strana 13th, Bell 14th. And with the full 75 kilograms of weight ballast, Chris Shepard starts P15. Matt Richards, after that contact with Kevin Siggy-Rebenak in race 1, starts P16 with no weight ballast though, remember, so watch him fly up the order. We then got Brown 17. Vettel P18 after a horror round. Just needs to get some points on the board in this race. Potter's 19th, Yuyovsky 20th. Clip 21st with Siggy all the way down in P22. Willis 23rd, Yunt 24th, Campfield 25th, and Daniele Brambilla rounds out our grid in P26. We've lost 4 drivers overall now. So we've lost David Yunt. No, we haven't. That's a lie. Who have we lost? We've lost Fabian Ruder. We've lost Kyle Benton. We've lost Tyrone Frith. And who else have we lost? And Pedro Delgado. So a lot of pressure on Philip Morby's shoulders, actually. He said this race is going to be the first time that he starts on the actual pit straight himself. He's not going to be starting round the corner, which will only serve to benefit him further. Let's see whether he makes hay while the sun shines. All right, then the final cars then lining up on the rear straight. Olsen, Brugman, Schonfleet, will they feature massively? Will we see another big drive from the back with weight ballast? Let's find out, shall we, here in race 3 in France. The 5 lights illuminate above the drivers. And we are off and away. And it's an awful start from Philip Morby. Rear-wheel drives start well, wrong. In the right hands, wrong. Johan Lindberg jumps up into the lead ahead of his compatriot Tobias Olsen. Niels Brugman now goes into 3rd around the outside of Philip Morby. And it's that Gogo Baldy with a contact between Baldy and everyone in the midfield. Oh, that is awful. That is actually awful from all of them. And somehow, some of them are still going in the points. I saw Baldy in there. And up at the front then, it means that the front bunch have been able to scurry away. Brugman, Olsen who's up into 2nd, Lindberg up there as well, Morby's free, Glade's free in 5th, Mayer up to 6th, Keithley Strana still going. What about the championship protagonist, Richard? Siggy down to 25th, Siggy with an awful start, and with a massive dent in that, edge as well. Adonis behind him, Yovsky still going. Strana and Keithley into early battle as well. But the front 4, they really have checked out at the moment. McGlade in battle with Mayer, certainly. Keithley wow, Keithley losing positions left, right and centre. He's lost position to Pinches as well. Gogo Baldy goes up the inside of Mike Bell, who looks to fight back. Olsen takes the lead. Olsen takes the lead into the S. I told you to watch out for him. I told you to watch out for him. Round record won't be going then for the first time of asking. And at the end of lap 1, it is a front-wheel drive that leads. Olsen leads from Lindberg, Brugman, Morby, McGlade, Mayer, Strana, Pinches, Keithley and Fidek. Where's Shepard? Shepard hasn't moved an inch. He's only P15. Schonfleet was involved in that massive crash as well, P16. As Niels Brugman looks to go up the inside of Lindberg, tries for the cutback, doesn't happen. Further back, McGlade and Mayer battle as well. All Pinches goes very deep into the chicane. That will allow Eric Strana through into P7 again. Further back, Chris Butcher P11, Matt Richards P12. And Matt Richards has got Gergo Baldy for company as well, along with Mike Bell down in P14, Chris Shepherd and Sholvley. Patel's made a good start up to P17 at least. And goodness me, Olsen is starting to fly away. Niels Brugman being held up an awful lot by Johan Lindberg and Philip Morby. We'll be looking to be careful here as well. These are big points on offer for these two teams, YDF1 and Racing Team Stroton. Again, a moving slide show here, and it does very much look like it's going to be Brugman on Lindberg for these early stages. For every lap that Brugman remains behind Lindberg, though, Olsen is going to continue to scurry away, although we're not sure about his tyre wear in comparison to Strand, because it was a similar situation in race 3 at Poznan. Oh, Philip Morby with a four-wheel drift keeps it in one go, and crucially behind, McGlade is now past Jack Mayer. So the Englishman starting to move his way through as well, been on the podium multiple times as Lewis McGlade. I'm sure he's won a race. I think his pole positions are the ones that he's never got. Not going to be much of a worry for him. Yeah, he's got 2 wins. Oh, it's Richards v Butcher here. Back in P11 and P12, and actually Richards passed Butcher there for P11 and P12. Gergo Baldy P13, got Mike Bell still for company P14. Shepherd still unable to move his way through the pack P15. Schoenvliet without weight as well. He must have taken up a hefty whack. As out front, the lead continues to extend, 1.3 seconds. But Philip Morby's now starting to fall further and further back into the hands of Lewis McGlade. Brugman needs to make these early stages count. He really needs to get his way past Lindberg, but Lindberg had such a great defensive drive in race 3 at Poznan. You can't underestimate the Swede for certain. Further back, Keithley versus Fidek. And Keithley goes down the inside of Garage Fair, little tap on the outside as well. Keithley through into P9, and now Fidek under a lot of pressure from Matt Richards, who's looking to force his way back up into the top 10. Fidek goes to the outside, Matt Richards going to commit to the inside. In fact, Fidek going to the outside of Jack Keithley. They all eventually go in line astern with Butcher P12 still. And who's that? Oh, it's Fidek losing position. Or is it Fidek trying to go around the outside of Keithley again? Yeah. But this time, look at Richards and look at Butcher. They're going to bully him around the outside. Oh, contact! Butcher in there as well. That was clumsy, involving Butcher, not for the first time this evening. And Gergo Baldy there just in watching brief. And oh, again, Butcher running out someone to dry on the outside. Baldy going to take advantage. Oh, is that a massive crash behind? Is that Patel? Yes, it is. Patel for the 3rd time this evening crashes. And that is going to be no points once again for the Englishman. As up the inside of David, or the outside, I should say, of Fidek, goes Baldy. Fidek into the chicane, stays there. Baldy on the inside now. Nope, and that's actually going to allow Chris Shepherd through. So Baldy got a little bit greedy. Both epics through. Mike Bell now in P15. As is that Shepherd being let through by Fidek? Yes, it is. Smart move, I'd say. Smart move. As, oh, at Camfield up the inside of Bell. That was super late. Bell gives Camfield a lot of room. And up the order, there goes Richards now. Past Keithley, he keeps on siding his way through the Welshman. Although Keithley breaks so late into Garage Fair, lock up as well. That's going to be Richards through with ease. And that might be Butcher through as well. In fact, yes, it is Keithley letting his teammate through. Same case as behind. Fidek now trying to keep Baldy at bay. This is effectively inter-teams championship battle at this point. As Campfield up the inside of Bell. No, remember, Bell was 66 kilograms of weight ballast. He will be struggling. Further up the order, Niels Brugman still hasn't gotten past Lindberg. Morby still well ahead of Lewis McGlade, actually, who's not been able to lose Jack Mayer. Eidos could be on for yet another big point score as Campfield. Is that him finally past Mike Bell? Well, yes, it is. Look at Kevin Siggy now going to try and compound the errors for Mike Bell. Oh, being crunched up on the curb there. A little bit robust from the Belster. And Kevin Siggy actually falls down to P18 with Ranu Muru there. Schoenvliet and Patel both out. As further up the order, Chris Shepherd looking to try and get past Jack Keithley. No doing this time around. And Schoenvliet there with some messaging. Goodness me. That is not looked upon fondly by the DC. Let me tell you that much. Distracts the race is not great. So lap 5 of 11. As Shepherd's off! And was that contact with Keithley? It must have been, surely. Either that or Fidek, surely not his own teammate. Let's see, it was going down into La Musée. And same situation. He turns into Keithley. Not for the first time this evening. Not on Keithley, of course, but not for the first time this evening. Shepherd falls afoul of contact physics, himself and Keithley right down to the back of the grid. And that's the second time in 2 rounds that Keithley has been a victim in falling back down the field. So what this means is that Fidek's now up to P11. Camfield in all of this has actually managed to struggle his way up to P12, taking advantage of Gergo Baldi, who no doubt has damage. Kevin Siggy up to P40. Mike Bell still hanging around in the top 15. Camfield's been a little bit punchy, as is Baldi. Baldi gets into the slipstream. As Niels Brugman up top. We've got to look to his teammate, because that is Niels Brugman, I believe, through on Johan Lindberg. Yeah, heading down to La Chapelle. This could be a big move for the race, and yes it is. Niels Brugman finally made his way through. And now the question is, can he overcome that 2-second gap and catch up to Olsen to make it a battle for the lead? Lindberg still doing well. He's got a 2-second gap on Philip Morby, who's not been troubled by Lewis McGlade, to be fair. Morby having an inspire, as is Mayer there in P6. Pinches still joined by Strana. But these two have got to be careful. Matt Richards P9 closing. Butcher, Fidek, Camfield, Siggy past Baldi as well. So Baldi looking only just to score points this time around. Far cry from his journey to the win in race 3 2 weeks ago. Bell 15th, and look at Erhan Yuyovsky. He's been struggling all round long, but he could be on the precipice of points this time around. Jack Keithley out of the race, our 3rd retirement with suspension damage. So I'm looking, actually, nobody's scoring well. With the exception of Red Bull Street Fighter, this race actually pulls initially Red Bull Street Fighter back into it. And I'll tell you why Tobias also should be looking even more gleefully behind. He continues to extend the gap to Niels Brugman, who's now 2.6 seconds behind. Johan Lindberg not being dropped by the Dutch driver. Philip Morby still there in P4. And really been able to pull away from Jack Mayer, the Englishman, having, again, another inspired performance here. 6th on the road, equivalent to 10 points. That'd be massive for Eidos. As Yuyovsky through on Bell. Yes, indeed he is. Around the outside of the chicane. Yep. And so Bell really struggling with those 66 kilograms on board. Yuyovsky through for Adonis. And Baldi still with that really odd line. As McGlade, oh, he through on Mayer? No, he's not through on Mayer. Sorry, Mayer's attacking McGlade. I think McGlade was involved in that early contact, though, at the start. So it's entirely possible that he's picked up some damage along the way, which is why, A, he's not able to catch up to Morby, and why, B, he's got Mayer for company all throughout this race. Pinches, still ahead of Richards, actually, who's gotten past Strana. Richards working his way back up the order. Good drive so far from the Welshman. And then behind we've got Fidek still in 10th, Butcher 11th, Siggy 12th. Past Campfield now, so Siggy's doing a decent recovery drive as well. Baldi still holding on to 14th, though. Look at Yuyovsky all over the back of Baldi. Certainly one of the biggest losers in that opening contact. I'm thinking he surely just has to settle for 15th, Baldi, because Yuyovsky is all over the back of him. As we cross the line again, the gap remains at 2.6 seconds between Olsen and Brugman. I think Olsen's got this one in the bag. further back. It's now Richards on the back of Pinches. Matt Richards without weight ballast is a scary prospect in these cars. As Yuyovski is now past Baldi, and now through the Dunlop curve. Back to Richards though. Further back up the order. He takes the Baldi line actually. He goes wide in and looks for the cutback. Might serve him well. Pinches just trying desperately to hold on to a good point score. Richards goes wide and tries to go around the outside. No, pulls back in. Strana watching brief behind. It's then further 6 seconds behind Strana where we find David Fiduk. As Kevin Stiggy's past Chris Butcher, I noticed as well. Although is Richards going through on Pinches? Yes, it is. Pinches kind of let him have that one. So Richards up to 7th behind. Kevin Stiggy going through to P11. No. Contact between himself and Butcher. And I thought that Kevin Siggy was going round again. Not so. Side by side between the two. Campfield in 13th. Kevin Siggy just eggs along on the straight. He is ahead and into this little chicane. Oh, dearie me, Butcher. Butcher, come on. You know, there are some evenings, lads, when some drivers just lose it. Butcher's lost it. Kevin Siggy, dearie me. Adrian Campfield goes wide there. Chris Butcher picks up a free position. It is amateur hour, unfortunately, down here at the back. Regular ITC had to happen sometime. And look at Adrian Campfield now going back up the inside of Chris Butcher. He's going to muscle his way through one way or another. These two have already had pre-race one. Butcher just, what are you doing? What are you actually trying to achieve, Chris? Now just cutting off Yuyovski, who tries to take advantage of the situation. Gogo Baldi in 14th. Going to go clean around the outside of Yuyovski. Let's look at a better battle, shall we? Let's look at a battle that deserves some coverage. Let's go to Pinches versus Strana, because Strana has actually made his way past Pinches. Kevin Siggy out of the race, so both edge cars now out. I don't blame him. Don't blame him at all. Strana past Pinches then, and still Olsen continues to extend that gap up the front. 3 seconds now to Niels Brugman. He is having an inspired performance, is Olsen. He's always had that pace. It's always been the racecraft which has held him back. But this is his 74th race. He's picked up 3 wins already. He's picked up 2 podiums already in his career. Looking very much on track to be taking up win number 4. And what a great result this would be for Red Bull Street Fighter overall at that. Now look at Matt Richards though. Matt Richards wants more. And next on his hit list will be Jack Mayer. Up there in P6, regardless of whether he finishes P6 or 7. This would be an outstanding round for IDOS. Top 10 from Clip in race 1. Points from Mayer in race 2. Big points on offer here in Mayer, or from Mayer in race 3. As into the Dunlop chicane we go. Richards brakes very late indeed. That is the late braking of someone who is confident in their car, and Mayer does not fight that one bit. He knows that he's in the relegation scrap. And every point matters. Next up will be McGlade versus Richards. If you are a BVTCC fan, you will know that this is a battle that's gone on for quite a few seasons. Was considering going back to the battle for P12. You know what? Let's go back to the battle for P12, shall we? Let's see what hilarity ensues this time. Chris Butcher, the bottle core, Campfield scampering away. Yuyovski 13th, Baldi 14th, Bell, Clip, Muru, and Potter's in here. Rowan GP looking to pick up their first point of the campaign. Erhan Yuyovski on the outside of Butcher now. Goes very deep into Garage Ver, and that might allow Gergo Baldi through. He goes so far off the track, Yuyovski. But I don't think he's lost too much to Gergo Baldi. Mike Bell behind, trying to fend off Matt Clip. Matt Clip stays in behind, Ranamuru looking interested, as is Tristan Potters. Small points, potentially big gains for these guys. Butcher goes to the inside. Baldi goes very aggressively to the inside of Yuyovski. And he should not be risking his car like that for certain. Oh my goodness, yeah, a massive over that who completely killed Baldy's race. Again, too greedy, the Hungarian. Too greedy. Lap 10 of 11. Final lap now for the leaders. Gergo Baldi looks to have just shot himself in the foot with that move. So back up to the front then. We still have a podium scrap on our hands. Olsen, he is well clear, but Johan Lindberg has found a second coming. Matt Richards behind, going around the outside of LaChapelle, is he? McGlade, oh, he breaks late. Here goes Mayer, he goes down the outside. Wave your flags in glee, Eidos fans. Mayer does a double overtake into LaChapelle, and he's into P5. Matt Richards does eventually overtake. Lewis McGlade almost goes into the back of Mayer as well there. Lewis McGlade P7. Goodness me. Crazy final scenes here, and Eidos top 5 potentially on the cards for this Mercedes at a track which they know that they should be doing well at. Further behind, still Butcher and Yayovsky rages on. Yayovsky now fully up the inside. Could be a double point score for Eidos actually with Clip there in 14th. Yayovsky well clear there, and the Adonis slots in to P12. Everyone's still behind, by the way. But up front, he has been untroubled since overtaking a rear-wheel drive at the start. He is going to take his 4th win in his ITC career. Tobias Olsen becomes our 6th different race winner in 6 races here in the International Touring Cup. He picks up a win, his first of the season. Niels Brugman picks up his 2nd podium of the season, with Johan Lindberg taking home a podium. For YDF1, Philip Morby with 13 points on the board. For Racing Team Schroten, big result there for the Dutch outfit. Jack Mayer with 11 points for Eidos, an outstanding drive from the Englishman. Matt Richards with great recovery drive from P16 to P6, brilliant from the Welshman. McGlade 7th with Strana 8th. That's a great result for Red Bull Street Fighter overall. Pinches 9th with Fidek rounding out the top 10. Campfield, Yuyovsky, Clip. So Clip in 13th, brilliant from Eidos. Butcher 14th, Bell rounds out the top 15. Your retirements from this race: Patel, Schoenvliet, Keithley and Siggy. But goodness me, what a disgusting race from a lot of those drivers. That was poor. You know, when you get me on my own, guys, you're going to, and especially in a broadcast of this nature where nobody's really supported us, we've had no staff to back us up, you're going to get me at my rawest. That was awful. That was terrible from a lot of those drivers, and they should be ashamed of themselves, quite frankly. Bugatti's a brilliant circuit to race on, but every single year, drivers are too greedy. Drivers are too silly. Drivers lose their heads, and they make it look like a circuit that should be taken off the calendar. I wonder whether it will be next year. Who knows? Just having a little look at the... just looking at the chat. A lot of people have left early. Doesn't surprise me. Does not surprise me one bit. Don't ask me what the order is. I don't know. Maybe Jeff Fortier will be able to help out with some maths. I'm not even sure who takes the championship lead, because Baldi didn't do well. Maybe Richards? Because Shepard didn't score. Right. Oh, I've had a mention in ITC Div1. Of course, if you're looking to join GPVWC, don't take it on the back of this broadcast, by the way. Usually the racing is a hell of a lot better than that quality. Matt Allington. Yeah, no, I'm dishing out the... I am dishing out the fire, because that was poor on a lot of occasions. And it's wrong. But yes, let us get some interviews, shall we? Who should we start with? Oh, now everyone's coming in. You know what? I'm going to do 3 interviews today. Let's start, actually, with the man who just won, shall we? Let's do it in a different way. Right. Tobias Olsen, you have had to wait a little while for a win. You've been criticised sometimes for racecraft, but today, not only did you beat a front-wheel drive or a rear-wheel drive, I should say, off the line, but you won that race in style. How was that?
Yeah, it was a good race after a really bad qualifying in race one, and also race two was quite bad. So it was a good recovery for me. So and for the team as well. So
Well, I
it
was
feels
going to
good.
say, in race three, actually, yourself and Strana scored really well. Strana scoring 2 podiums himself over the event. You
Yeah,
guys, a lot of people would have put yourselves as, potential title contenders going into this year. To be fair, after this round, it's clear to see that everyone's going to have an off one. So do you still count yourselves in as being in with a chance of winning that team's title?
yeah, I think we can. I think we can. Yeah, we will try at least.
I
So
think
yeah,
everyone's trying, certainly. And
yeah,
actually, I'm curious to learn from one of the top teams. It's quite easy to not worry about it. But what do you guys think of the whole relegation promotion idea that's been introduced to Division 1 and Division 2 of ITC? Because, like, on the outset, of course, it doesn't affect you since you're scoring so many points that you won't have to worry about that. But doesn't it potentially promote more better drivers into Division 1, therefore making it harder? Curious to get your thoughts on it.
um, well, I think it's a good thing, and it's also really funny that it's so much teams that's showing interest in the league.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a good thing, I think. Yeah,
Awesome. Well, congrats on your win, Tobias, and take care.
thanks,
Have a good one.
thanks.
And who should we bring in next? I think we should bring in our race 2 winner. Right, Mr. Chris Shepherd. Interesting evening for you. Going into race 3, you were championship leader, but it's fair to say that the evening overall has been, again, a little bit checkered. Not so much on the start, but this time in the races, non-scoring in race 3. Of course, the rather unfortunate physics mesh up between yourself and Baldy in race 2. Take us through the evening from your perspective.
Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head right there. James was a bit of mix and match, really. Could have been so much better. Don't think it could have been much worse, but yeah, I don't know. This track it's just impossible to pass. I don't know, James. I've not really got much to say about it, to be honest.
Well, rather than looking at Bugatti, let's look at the next track, Misano. As I said earlier in the broadcast, it's actually raised a few eyebrows as to its selection. It's naturally a motorcycle circuit. How do you think the touring cars are going to get on a tight and twisty corners? But there are a few
Yeah,
overtaking opportunities as well.
yeah. Well, I think the rear wheel drives will do well, so we'll have to watch our tyres for sure. Front wheel drives.
Might we see the
Yeah,
return of the mediums?
it'll be interesting. I don't know. I don't know about that, but I hope not anyway, because they're just bad.
I love it. It always, raises a bit of intrigue, especially when you got Mike Bell pulling out amazing results on them.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
well, regardless, could have been better.
Yeah.
I would argue it could have been worse. Honestly, I think that given how many incidents there were over the 3 races, it could have gone P-tong in race 2, let
Sure.
alone race 3. So either way, congratulations on your win. It certainly seems like you're going to be one of the championship antagonists out of this. And so congratulations and best of luck for the next round.
Thank you, James. Appreciate it, buddy. Cheers.
Pleasure. And who should we finish up this last interview with? Um, hmm. You know what? Let's give Johan Lindberg an interview, shall we? Let's give Johan an interview. Because Johan Lindberg, you're becoming a bit of a specialist at the moment. P4 in race 3 in Poznan, or no, I lie, P7 in race 3 at Poznan. Still good points for YDF1, who are looking at the lower end of that top 10. You've got yourself your first ever ITC podium. You must be delighted with that.
Yeah, I'm very happy with my performance today. I wasn't expecting that after the first race. I mean, you can't cut in the qualify and expect to make good results. Competition is way too hard.
But you still made it happen in race 3. And actually, I'm curious because you were very much a single-seater specialist before coming into ITC and a front-wheel drive at that as well. How's the transition been overall? And do you find yourself getting into a bit of rhythm? Because you're certainly outscoring your teammate Campfield at the moment.
Yeah, I think I found some kind of pace. If I can be pretty much on my own, then it's no hard to get a good pace. But I'm probably a bit too kind in racing situations. I should probably be a bit more aggressive.
You know what, Johan? That saddens me because you were one of the only clean drivers that I saw out there today, and you were rewarded with a podium. So honestly, from my experience as a touring car driver, from my experience as a caster on this series, keep being you because it's doing you well and it's doing your team well as well.
Yeah, thank you. I will try to.
You're welcome. No worries. Right, Johan Lindberg, everyone, take care. Congrats on your podium. And yeah, as I say, I think we're going to wrap that one up for tonight because there are going to be some hot heads. I've certainly gotten hot headed as well because I don't like commentating on that. It's not great for anyone. But what we do have is a wonderful mathematician in the form of Jeffrey Fournier, who is pretty much just messaging through the order as we speak. So we have, would you believe it, coming out of France, a joint championship lead. Matt Richards and Chris Shepherd both lead on 66 points. They are 8 points ahead of Kevin Siggy in third. Is then the two enterprises of Baldy and Brugman on 55 and 54. In there as well, Fidek, Strana, Butcher, Pinches, rounding out your top 10. Oh, is that Strana twice? I think it's Olsen who should be there in P10, not Strana. Slight mistake. In terms of the team's championship, well, it has all come up Epic and Street Fighter and Smile. Epic Racing lead the team's championship. Remember, they were the World GT. No, I lie. Stacks were the World GT winners. Never mind me. They're friends of the team, though. Easily confused. Epic Racing lead on 120 points. They are 11 points ahead of Enterprise, who remain in P2. Red Bull Street Fighter, big round for them. They're up to P3, only 8 points behind on 101. The top five rounded out by Smile Power on 96 and ACR Zack Speed on 91. Edge Esports, from being first in the standings, have fallen down to 6th. This championship is wide open. And you know what? It's Shepherd with 52 points in 7th, not Strana. So it's Strana and Olsen both on 49 points in the drivers. But either way, who knows who's going to win this championship? I don't. It is honestly probably one of the closest championships we've ever seen here at the GPVWC. And hopefully we'll have a cleaner and more better and more everything broadcast for you in 2 weeks' time when we head to Misano for the Italian Touring Cup. In the meantime, though, we do have the Career Ladder, Tuesday for Formula Challenge, Super Cup on the Wednesday, and the WTF1 Super League on the Thursday. That is all next week. I think we're heading to Singapore, I believe. Hopefully I'm right on that one. So plenty of action here at GPVWC left to enjoy before next week. Big thank you to my cameraman and I basically putting on this broadcast for you, Argo Tita. I've been James Kirk, and from all of us here, have a very good night. Take care.